All right, how's everyone doing? I'm Rich Celenza. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm in an LA Fitness, actually in Orlando, Florida. I'm going to meet my daughter, so I come to this LA Fitness. It's on East Colonial Drive in the Milk District, they call it. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I guess you'd call it the downtown Orlando LA Fitness. It's not bad. It's a little older. Give you a quick glance here. Yeah, this is a older style LA Fitness, as you could tell. It's, where is it? Colonial and basically Primrose, if you know where that's at. So it's across from the Colonial Plaza Mall, and if you know anything about the Fashion Square Mall, it's basically right across the street from that as well. So what I want to get into today is something I'm calling learning to not sit while weight training. And I understand a lot of times we do have to sit regardless who we are. Actually, I'm gonna go sit down for a second. Let me get a better position. Actually, first, here, let me give you a better view of what this LA Fitness looks like, just in case you ever want to check it out. This is basically the core, but it's not a lot of. So yeah, let me go find a spot here. All right, so I am in the basketball room, so it's a lot quieter in here. So what I want to get into today is, one is kind of help you with when working out with weights. That's the main thing I'm going to be talking about today. And one of the things I'm going to get into today is your core and your lower back, and what I believe to do to start helping yourself get a lot stronger in your lower back, also start getting your core in much better shape. Because if you're a man, I think you gain an average 1 pound per year starting from either 30 or 35, and it goes up to like 70. And as you know, a lot of people out there that are, especially men, older, middle-aged, they have huge bellies, they gain weight. You could just tell from their teenage years to their 20s, to their 30s, to their 50s, most of them just keep gaining weight. They get a bigger and bigger stomach, which is something hopefully you want to prevent, especially if you don't want to end up with heart disease. And I was one of these people who always had a big waist. For the most part, but I was like a 54, 56 jacket, so I kind of I kind of hid that. And again, my upper body was pretty big and my legs were pretty big, so it didn't make that big of a difference. But as I started to get older, believe me, it started to take a major, major toll on me. So what I started to have to learn to do was, one is I had to lose weight. I always averaged between about 230 and 250 for the most part. And I wanted to knock that weight down, but what was happening is I was losing weight. The thing is, my stomach wasn't really going away. My arms got smaller, my neck, my chest, everything else. It should have really gone down a lot quicker, but because I was so expanded, I called it, my body just got so used to being that heavy that it was just hard. And even when I did lose weight, my skin, like everything else, I had to make sure, I personally believe I did it slow, because if you lose a lot of weight in my eyes, your skin starts to sag much quicker. So I had to conform my body into being smaller, and I didn't want to shock my body, but that's a whole nother thing. But what I started to learn to do was stand up during my workouts with weight training. A majority of it was standing. So instead of doing workouts where I was standing, then you sit, then you stand, then you sit. Now I know if you're gonna bench press, for instance, you gotta lay down. If you're gonna do certain exercises, row, for instance, doing back, you're gonna have to sit down. There are certain things you can't not do, obviously, without sitting down. But a majority of my workout, if you took out chest, for instance, if I go to shoulders, now with shoulders, I'm standing. Very seldom do I sit to do anything. When I'm doing arms, everything I'm doing, I'm standing. I do triceps, for the most part, I'm always standing. And what started to happen with that is my lower back started to get much stronger, and my core just started to tighten up. It naturally had to. Not only that, my legs may have not gotten as strong, say, as they were when I was lifting heavy weights, right? Squatting heavy weights and all that. But what they did, they started to become much, I guess you could say, just better looking and way more in shape, right? Because if you're standing throughout your workout, and that includes cardio and like even if you're warming up, the only thing I do sometimes do is sit down on a bicycle. I just warm my knees up, but a lot of times I will, again, warm up. I don't care if it's elliptical, I don't care if it's a treadmill, whatever the case may be. And even when doing abs, sometimes I'm incorporating standing up, leg lifts, all these different types of things because I want to stand. Start incorporating standing. Also, if you start eliminating, like, say, a back rest. So if you're doing shoulders, a lot of times, a lot of guys, you sit down and they have a back rest there and you can press. Well, using that, you use it as leverage. So I realized when I took everything out regarding kind of using leverage points like that, so if I'm doing shoulder presses, I do it when I'm standing up. And if I do sit down, again, I'm not using anything on my back, so I have my lower back has to support my foundation. My core always has to support me, right? And then by doing that, everything is kind of always kind of in the mode of getting a full blood flow workout, I guess you should say. If I kind of sit down, if you think about it, once I sit down, now just kind of my upper body's being worked out, where I realized when I was standing the entire time, no matter what, my legs had to hold me up, my calves, obviously, my lower back. I had to have an entire foundation, and everything I was doing, again, it's very similar, like if you're deadlifting. I don't know if you ever heard, supposedly if you only had to do a few exercises, deadlifting, squatting, those are mass movement exercises, but they also help your entire body. So I kind of took that and I incorporated that into all my working out, where I'm always standing, and it made a huge, huge difference. So yeah, you got to try that out. I'm going to be putting up some videos in the future of all these different quirky things I do with working out. And that even includes, like, let's say preacher curl. A lot of times I don't sit. Even when I preacher, I bend over and I kick my legs out. Well, I like to do that as well because I get to concentrate on my buys. But again, I'm not sitting. At the beginning it was crazy because now that I think about it, when I was doing my workout, say it takes an hour and a half long, me standing, I was just getting winded because I was so used to stand, sit. Now I was just standing. So it almost became a half, it's working out with weights, but it was also incorporating cardio in there as well. And then after a while, it took me a long time to get to the point where I wasn't getting winded, because I used to say a lot of times, I'm out of breath before I'm out of strength. And I didn't understand that. And that's because I didn't have, obviously, the amount of cardio I should have been doing. But still, regardless how much cardio you do, you have to combine cardio with strength, right? And another thing was obviously pushing myself a lot further. And the more I stood, the more in shape I got. And the better I got in shape, the better my workouts became. So that's just something to think about. So, alrighty, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Thanks for checking out my channel. I also have a podcast, The Rich Celenza Show. WTF are you talking about? We're on, what do we got? Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I have a program out called Mastering Self-Confidence, which I kind of help men, truthfully, master their self-confidence regarding all different things: fashion, fitness, hygiene, and relationship related. So if you get a chance, check that out as well. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. If you're traveling, safe travels. Take care.